So it's actually been a little bit since I've done an FF7 video because I decided I wanted to just finish up on Banner Saga, focus on one, get it done, and do the other. The idea of playing two at once felt like a really nice idea to me. I could hop to whatever I feel like playing, but it ended up kind of just losing steam for both because it's not really how I play games. So now we're gonna play FF7, and of course the videos are interspersed, but I'm recording this after I finished all of Banner Saga, and hopefully I get well back into the swing of things. I have trouble losing steam on RPGs. This won't happen for FF7 because FF7's an incredible game, but if I'm like halfway through a game, especially if I've never played it before, and I take a break, because I don't have the grounding and like the familiarity with stuff, it's hard for me to jump back in and get used to it. I'm curious if this is for other people as well. So I'll often sort of stop a game halfway through or get distracted, and like a month or two later, I'll think like, do I want to be playing that? And I will want it, and I'll be like torn because I won't want to continue because I don't feel grounded in where it is, and I don't want to start over because it would take forever to get me to where I am, to get to where I was, and it would feel kind of like somewhat wasted time. Um, and like I'm fine spending hours and hours playing these games, but like it just feels like, but I'm already there in my save file, and I end up often just losing steam entirely and doing neither. This happened with Tales of Vesperia at some point. It's happened a whole bunch of times. So, anyways, we're returning to FF7, and we will not be losing steam. Didn't I tell you not to come here? So, we were in the Gold Saucer, but they came after us. That idiot Kate Smith, known here as Sir Smokes, told us to run. We got sent to the prison place. Also, a bunch of guards had been killed by gunfire by a man with a gun grafted to his arm. So, Barret, didn't I tell you not to come here? Uh, there you go. Okay, I wasn't. Oh, I have the controls wrong. Alright, I need to change the controls. I have switched because I was playing another game on PS1. I switched which the confirm and which the cancel button is because FF7 is a bit odd and has. Um, it's one of the few games that has circle as American games. Japanese games do this much more regularly. Has circle as confirm and X as cancel rather than the reverse. Just hold on for a second. We just want to talk. You'll understand if you hear us out. All right, we all seem to cover our faces in case he shoots us. The classic way to defend. But instead, didn't want none of you to get involved. Sure looks like Barret shot that guy. Hey, that's Cloud Slime. It's too dangerous. I can't let you get involved. Blah, blah, blah. This is a good job from Eris, because Cloud has been doing this the whole game, and it is very blah, blah, blah. The important thing as we get back into the swing of FF7 is to remember Cloud is a jerk. Yeah, we're already involved in this. We saw you and hurried here. Barret, just tell us what's going on. This is Eris handling Barret better than she was in some earlier scenes last time. I did rewatch my last episode to ground myself. You guys, I heard that the murders at the battle arena were done by a man with a gun arm. Was that you? Piggy Man getting right to the important question. There's another man that got a gun grafted into one of his arms. It was 4 years ago. Flashback. I remember. I was on my way home from visiting a Mako reactor being built. Barret, Dyne, come quick. The village is being attacked. It's Shinra soldiers. What? We've been there. Oh shit. We haven't seen North Coral getting destroyed before till now. Nice smoke animation for the time. I think FF7 does a really good job of basically panning over pre-painted backgrounds, but it's nice when they actually have some reasonable animation for the time as well. What the hell happened? We can very clearly see part of the reason they do that shaking is very clearly to show us he has not yet had a gun grafted onto his arm, right? his two arms are parallel. And the game has to show us that, or are symmetrical, has to show us that at length because the graphics are not going to read that quickly to the viewer. So I think there's lots of like little smart things where they cover for the fact that the arms look ridiculous. Hey Barret, it's not over yet. Everyone's waiting. Let's go back to the village. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to pause. Barret, Dyne, protect the village. Ooh. Old man? Presumably said. A little different than how I just read it. Alright. These soldiers have stormtrooper level accuracy. Come on, Barret, we gotta hurry. Gerg! Shinra troops, really the most elite of the armed forces. Barret, you stay here. Kya ha ha! Shut up! You can shoot all day and never hit them with aim like that. Ha ha ha! Stop playing around and cover me. Watch out! Dyne, hang on. Listen to me, you're coming back to the village here. Yeah, I ain't letting go. You're coming back. Everyone's waiting for you. Eleanor and Marlene, they're all waiting on us. Oh no. Well, I would not survive that fall personally, but you do you. From then on, I couldn't use my right arm no more. I was depressed for a while, but then I threw away my artificial arm and got this gun grafted in. Got a new right arm to get revenge on the Shinra, who took everything away. Back then, I heard the doc say there was another man who got the same operation as me, but his was the left arm. But Dyne's injury was the same as yours, right? Yeah, that's right. He was deceived by the Shinra too. He'll probably join us to fight against the Shinra. Wouldn't bet on it. I gotta apologize to Dyne before I can rest in peace. And that's why I gotta go alone. Do whatever you want. Is that what you want to hear? Well, I can't let you do it, because if you die on me, I'm gonna have nightmares. Barret, this isn't the end. Weren't you gonna save the planet? Shit, Tifa, you ought to know by now. That's alright. I'm not so different from you. That's easier to understand. It's you, Barret. So there it is, Barret. So I guess it'll be Barret, me, and. Some of those lines I think were not translated so well. I think you can get what they're getting at, but not done well. Obviously, this is our party. Do I not have working arrow keys? Do I have to adjust those too? Oops, give me a moment. I must have tabbed off analog mode. See if I can get back to it. No? Okay. I don't have directions. Alright, we'll try again. Alright, we'll do... No, not right analog. That's not useful. D-pad. Up, down, left, right. Okay. Hey, we're back. And with our dream party. So I guess we gotta go find Dyne. Now, I'm not sure the order we should interact with people here. Got these people having a fun time. This place is heaven. This place is heaven. This place is heaven. I think they're singing rounds as they strum their potentially invisible guitars. Alright, these are the enemies that are either friendly or not friendly. But we'll try to get some kills. Where I think their only move is to fall over and either heal you or do damage to you. I'm just holding the attack button, nothing exciting to do here. I think we have to talk to the people in charge here and go find Dyne. And I think it makes sense to talk to the people in charge here first. Or try to find Dyne. Kind of the enemy. The full heal is such a large heal that unless you get terrible odds on those enemies, just sitting there will on average fully heal your party, which is quite pleasant. As I've said before, I like the variety of enemies visible in this first game. Let's talk to this guy. Yeah, these guys. This is where I want to be. Let's go in. You new? Then go and pay your respects to Mr. Coates. Can do. We're a very respectful guy. Definitely haven't referred to the main character as a dick throughout this playthrough. Just ran into the man. Never seen your face around here before. Going up? Yeah, up. You don't seem to understand how things work down here. This is the Gold Saucer's garbage dump, and that makes all of you scrubs. The only way to get back up there is to win the chocobo race. But it's not as easy as you rookies think. Of course, if you got the boss's permission, it'll be a different story, but you'll never get that. Ha ha ha. The only way to get back up there is to win the... we did this. Sorry, I thought I was continuing the dialogue, but I was starting him over. Okay. Feels like we need to get the boss's permission. And we have a question. Who is the boss? Let's talk to this man. Want to enter the chocobo race? Yeah, I want to enter. Then go get permission with the boss of this place. Who's the boss? You don't even know that? Oh, man. Oh, that's it? That's not helpful. Alright, we could talk to various people, but I think I know where to go. We will do this fight. Mash that attack button. Yeah, so same fight as last time. Maybe we'll just run away. It is nice of them to give us the full heals. In case the fight continues, may as well throw out some attacks. There we go. Not like we need the experience. I should probably run away from more random encounters just to speed this whole thing up, but I like holding down the attack button. I do like the gameplay to these. Alright. How you doing, fellow on the ground? Oh, that's the guy who died earlier on the way in. Forgot about that. Or who was dead earlier. Do we have new enemies here? Just thieves. So I'm going to keep my ATB bars full, so that if the thieves steal anything, we will be ready to attack with all our characters. Oh, I should probably figure out what Barret's doing. What do we need for Barret? First of all, definitely giving him the better machine gun. Don't think any of those will be too useful. And does he need any materia? Yeah, let's give him the fire materia. And he may as well get some experience for the sense and manipulate materia. And sure, he can have transform equipped. Transform is almost leveled up. This could be our first leveled up material, wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be exciting? Actually, we could give him some stuff of, it would be natural to give him some stuff of reds. And I think we're going to give him poison and nothing else. And I'll remember to flip off manipulate. Because poison is probably the best materia in this kind of early mid-game. And it's nice to have it in the party. Am I supposed to go this way? I always forget. I think we do go this way, and then we go right. It's easy to get lost in the desert here, so I'm not sure I remember. Man, the boss was really in a bad mood today. Was it one of his better days? Yeah, the boss doesn't sound like the most likable guy. Here we go. And we're already there. If you go wrong directions, it gets you lost in a loop, and eventually a chocobo carriage, I think, comes and finds you and picks you up and brings you back. Ooh, this is a different enemy. What are these? Full motor. Ah, they have Matra Magic. We don't need Matra Magic, but we may as well show off what Matra Magic can do. It does damage. Like, we're taking hits here. Barret only has his level 1 limit break, but you might be getting some limit break practice coming up. Cloud still only is his level 1. I would have expected him to have a higher level limit break by now. I have been skimping on kills, I guess. Do we have a heal currently in the party with Red out? I have forgotten my loadouts. Ah, we do have Cure. Cool. Cure all. And Tifa can get some limit break practice. Don't need to hit this very well because, one enemy left without a ton of life. I think this part of the game, the prison below the Golden Saucer, and arguably the Golden Saucer itself, at least this first visit, like, we're getting some of Barret's story, and I think that's good. But it's a little slow, and is kind of narrow enough to bear it, and, like, seeing the Shinra again as villains. But we already have the Shinra as villains pretty well built in. And I know RPGs, especially of this era, often do the thing if you go to this place and you get the story of this character, and you go to this place and you get the story of this character. But so far, I think the game has done a really good job of, especially in Midgar, of having something for all the characters. And now it sort of goes into the, okay, we're going to focus on each one for a little bit. And for me, that's a less compelling section of the game than when they are all tied into broader story development. Dyne, is that you? Now that's a voice I haven't heard in years. A voice I'll never forget. I always hoped I'd be able to see you again someday. I knew you were alive somewhere. We had the same operation. Listen to me, Dyne. I want to. What's that? I hear her voice. Hmm? I hear her voice, Eleanor's voice, begging me not to hate your rotten guts. That's why I didn't hunt you down. I know I was stupid. I'm not asking you to forgive me. But what are you doing in a place like this? Why you want to kill those that ain't even involved? Why? Why? The hell do you care for? Are the people killed gonna understand why? Are the people of Coral gonna understand just hearing Shinra's excuses? I don't care what the reason is. All they give us are artillery and stupid excuses. What's left is a world of despair and emptiness. You still want to hear why? Alright, I'll tell you. Because I want to destroy everything. The people of this city. The city itself. The whole world. I got nothing left in this world. Coral, Eleanor, Marlene. Dyne. Marlene's still alive. I went back into town. I thought she was gone for sure. That is why I wanted to be by her side till the end. That's when I found her. Found Marlene. She's in Midgar. Let's go see her together, alright? So, she's still alive. Alright, Barret. I guess that means you and I gotta fight. What? Eleanor's alone, all by herself. I've gotta take Marlene to her. Dyne, are you insane? Marlene wants to see her mom, don't she? Stop, Dyne. I can't die yet. Oh, yeah? Well, my life's been over ever since then. Stop it. I don't want to fight you. Barret. Cloud, you stay the hell out of it. This is my problem. So, I remember, this is a while ago. I don't want to say his opinion's wrong, especially because he's probably going to watch this. First of all, we're going to try to poison him. As I recall, he is weak to poison, and I think that's just such a valuable effect, yes. So that's just going to massively increase my damage output. So now I can just spend the rest of the fight healing whenever I need to and not feel like I'm missing much damage. Because, yeah, he's just going to take chunks of damage quite regularly. On the other hand, we're also going to get a limit break soon. So Dyne is a character that is clearly built up. He's a parallel to Barret. He is Marlene's biological father. Um, he's the one who opposed Shinra when Barret had more trust in Shinra, right? So there's a whole bunch built up with him. Just gonna heal. And then in the end, he kind of is pretty simple and dull. He wants to destroy everything. He wants to hurt everyone. This includes Marlene. He's not. Instead of being a parallel of Barret and an interesting character, he is destructive in a. Not that nihilism has to be dull or destructive on its own, but he is a destructive in this purely nihilistic way. I better heal. Um, but I think he's down. And I also think in a lot of games, especially of this era, there's kind of you meet a character and they say a bunch of big grand things, and then they're the boss of that area and quick to be forgotten. And he feels like he should have a more important place. And so I think he's a character that has some potential promise or interest. And not to spoil too much, but I think everyone watching this has played FF7. He's now just going to die and be gone. So we'll watch those scenes, but then I have a few more comments because I want to, I think, try to defend him a little bit here. Back. It wasn't just my arm. Back then, I lost something irreplaceable. I don't know where I went wrong. Dyne, I don't know either, man. Is that the only way? Is this the only way we can resolve this? I told you, I want to destroy everything. Everything. This crazy world. Even me. What about Marlene? What's gonna happen to her? Think about it. Barret. How old was Marlene back then? Even if I did go to her now, she wouldn't even know me. And what's more, Barret, these hands are a little too stained to carry Marlene anymore. Barret. Give that pendant to Marlene. It was Eleanor's, my wife's, memento. All right. Wow. Marlene's already 4. Barret, don't ever make Marlene cry. Dyne? Dyne. Dyne. Somewhat fitting he dies by falling after having not died by falling before. Dyne. Me and you were the same. My hands ain't any cleaner. I shouldn't be able to carry Marlene either. Erg. Okay. So I don't think the game's going to delve much further here, right? The Dyne chapter is closed and the game doesn't have more thought for it. But that doesn't mean we can't think about it further. And I think there's two concepts going on here. Mr. Coates says you want something. Maybe we'll talk about this during the chocobo race. I want to go up. Like I told you before, you got to get the boss's permission and win the chocobo. Dyne's got his reasons and can't speak. So, I got this instead. Yeah, bolt. I want to go up. Right. Did you kill Dyne? You must have, or you'd never be holding that thing. So, Dyne's dead. Maybe now this place will calm down a little. Dyne didn't care who anyone was. The hell do you know? Right. I mean, no, I don't know anything, so sorry. Then, will you get us out of here? Huh? Oh man, you guys are mistaken. I already told you, there's only one way to get out of here. That's to win the chocobo race, and that's held up there, in the gold saucer. And only one racer can go up at a time. Say what? No, really, even if you threaten me. A rule's a rule. I can't change it. If I do, the whole system down here will get messed up. And I can't do that. Okay, I'll let one go up there. After that, he's got to deal with Dio. Alright then. Cloud, you go. We'll wait down here. Hurry up and win that chocobo race and get us out of here. Right, Cloud, we'll be waiting and rooting for you. Have you decided? All you need now is a manager, and register and get a chocobo. Hi, I happened to hear your story. Esther? I'll be your manager. Well, I have nothing against it, but... This is Esther. She may look kind of funny, but there's no better manager in the races. That's so rude. Yeah, well, nice to meet you, Cloud. Alright then, Cloud. I'll send you up the elevator. Esther will fill you in on the details. Alright, so the tricky part about chocobo racing is going to be figuring out what the controls are on my keyboard. So that's what happened. I'll talk to Dio directly. You just concentrate on the race. But yeah, getting back to the other thing, there are many different types of chocobo jockeys. It's not only for criminals. Some people compete for the fame, some people compete for the money, some only for glory, and then there are people like you. Oh yeah, I'll teach you how to ride a chocobo. Not interested. We'll figure it out as we go. Basically, you have a button to accelerate or slow down. You got to keep an eye on your stamina gauge. You can also sprint, which with some chocobos is slower than just upping your speed and often expends more energy. And then if you hold two buttons, your energy is regularly going back up if you're below certain speeds. I think it's L2 and R2. We'll have to figure out what those buttons are and what they are on my keyboard. So I may save state right before it in case I screw this up massively, but we'll see. You knew. Hi, Joe. Now, Joe, as you may know, is the best chocobo racer around. Hey, Esther, you're looking pretty as usual. Thanks. Let me introduce you, Cloud. This is Joe, one of the top chocobo jockeys. Nice to meet you, Cloud. If you're with Esther, then. Right, he's an up-and-coming jockey. Now, you may have also noticed that red thing glowing in the corner. I'd better not forget to pick up that summon materia. He's only been down here for a day, and already he made it up here. What? Everyone's impressed. Oh, I see. So what did you do down there? Sorry, you're not supposed to ask about the past here. Pretty interesting. I have a feeling that we'll meet again. Depends on how much side questing we do. Then, until we meet again, Cloud. Alright, bye, Joe. Note he walks past the materia in case we hadn't noticed it. Maybe we're watching and do now. I'm going to check on the chocobo. You just wait here for a while. Alright, well, I know what I'm going for. Ramu materia. Nice. ... I got nothing to say. I'll be right back. Yeah. Don't get cocky. Skills don't matter once you get in the race. I feel like skills are the main thing that matters once we're in the race. Race will start in a few moments. Will the jockeys for the next race please proceed to the paddock? I repeat. I think we have to wait for them all to go. So let's talk a little more about Dyne, because I think there's sort of two themes of Barret's character that are really brought up there. And the first is, I think the clear implication of this is supposed to be Barret could have become Dyne. Cloud. Thanks for waiting. I registered you in the next race. This is a chocobo I prepared myself. He won't lose easily. Oh yeah, you know how to ride one. Yeah, I got it. I don't, but that's okay. Then, good luck. Alright, I'm going to hold what on my keyboard are the Q and W keys, because I think that's L2 and R2. And we're going to turn off automatic as soon as we can. I think that's the tab button. And we got to start upping our speed. So I'm pressing what I think is square. Alright, what's sprint? That's sprint. We got a little speed there. No, I want to be a little further away from the pack. Can I up my speed? Yes, this looks like I'm going faster. Okay. I'm going to keep mashing that. And yeah, this low poke we're going to pass. Don't know why it just made a noise, but I think we're in good shape now. Okay, Dyne. I think it's supposed to be pretty clear Dyne is what Barret could have become. Partially if he didn't have Marlene, right? If he didn't have a person to hold on to. Sorry, they keep making that noise. Um, if he didn't have a person to hold on to, he could have ended up just hating everything and wanting to destroy everything after what Shinra did. And then the second part is he took purpose in it, right? He took this desire to. We have a little sprinting power, might as well use it. And we win. Uh, this desire to do something, right? I think Avalanche is really important, not just because he's trying to do something good, but because there's something for him to be doing and to have like life investment in, like this purpose that isn't just feeling, you know, miserable like he destroyed his people. Instead, he's doing something about it. And Dyne did not find Marlene in the wreckage, right? Dyne instead went, everything I care about has been destroyed. There is no point to anything. The best thing that would happen is to destroy everything. My suspicion is that even without finding Marlene, Barret would have found purpose. But we can't know for sure. And that's the first sort of comparison. And this often happens with these kind of parallel characters, right? It's supposed to be, this could have easily been them if things had gone a little differently or if they had made a slightly different choice or been slightly different. And I think in Barrett's case, the obvious things to point to are he's the one who found Marlene and he's the one who found purpose against Shinra rather than kind of just destructiveness out of it. So, okay, we get a parallel for Barret, and it says something I think a little interesting, but not too surprising. The other part I think is the more interesting part, and especially how it relates, which is that he has blood on his hands too, right? Dyne has done too much destruction to be able to hold Marlene. And Barret hears that and thinks, but I've killed too many to help her eat as well, to hold her as well. I don't deserve to. I shouldn't be there. But he still will. And I think when we combine this with the first thing, right? Our first thing is this is someone he could have easily become. And our second thing is kind of when have you caused enough destruction that you don't deserve the joy of family, or let's say family, right? That you no longer deserve that you no longer can take part in it. And I think this is something we're going to return to over the game. That Barret is a character that genuinely feels guilt over things he's done. And in a rarity for games and RPGs, it's not just stuff he did before the game, it's stuff he does during the game too, right? He has pride in it, he also thinks it's important, and he also feels guilt in it. And we're going to see all of those elements from him at different points. And I think that's a really interesting character to include. Someone that could have, like Dyne did, ended up kind of just being one of those things, just having one piece of that. And instead, he's someone who has a whole bunch of pieces in it. And so I don't think the Dyne inclusion is that great, but I think it is an important part of that Barret doesn't become this single trait person or this defined in the same way by a single thing, partially because he starts defining himself as something else and he needs to hold on to that too. And I think that's a big part of how kind of identity works for people. This is totally getting off track, but like people who identify as a certain specific thing, the person who's like, my New Year's resolution is to exercise, likely won't do it that long. The person who identifies as someone who exercises is much more likely to keep doing so, right? It's something that they value in themselves, and thus doing it is an important part of kind of affirming themselves. Now, this can be very circular, because how do you get to start identifying as something? Well, you probably just have to do it a lot. And how do you start doing it a lot? So it can easily be circular. There's some like I know there's like self-help out there that like pretends this is the great secret to everything. And I think it's not, but I also think it's useful to understand that the more we identify as being something, the more very obviously closely attached we will be to it, and that can come with accompanying actions. At the same time, on the other hand, when it's vague rather than specific, right? When we define ourselves as "I am a good person," you see people who define themselves as that constantly. Well, that thing I did can't have been bad because I'm a good person. Or more commonly, why are people so angry at me for doing this thing? I'm a good person. They shouldn't be mad at me. And what you are is largely what you do and what you do when it counts. And there's no kind of, I'm a good person, get out of having done a bad thing. I think the much more useful thing to identify as there is, I'm someone trying to be good or trying to do better. Because then the thing that you need to keep doing to be that person that you want to be is you need to be trying. And by defining yourself as the end goal rather than the process, I think it's easy to no longer have to do it because you already are that thing. But when we define ourselves as taking part in a process, exercise is the process, not the end goal, right? And like exercise is like the most generic, easy example. But I think being a good person is one too, or trying to be is the process. And the more we identify as part of processes, the better we are at doing things. The more we identify as end goals, the better we are at already thinking we've done it and being angry at any implication that we haven't. That was a big offshoot. Did that connect much? Probably not. But I think for Barret, he was one of the strong protectors of this place, of Coral, and he failed. And unlike Dyne, he didn't oppose the Shinra, right? Dyne was opposed. Dyne could say, I was always opposed to this, I was overruled, and destruction came, right? Dyne could put the blame elsewhere. The people of Coral could put the blame elsewhere, right? The people of Coral said Barret was in charge, and he said, yes, it's his fault, he destroyed everything. And Barret, to his credit, did not move the blame in his mind, right? In his mind, it is his fault. He was one of the people in charge, and he made the wrong choice. And he has to find a way to live with that and move on with his life and do something. And part of that is he has to do things for Marlene, right? He has to keep her safe and make a better world for her. And part of it is he has to right what he did wrong. And it's not just enough to be like anti Shinra, right? He has to be doing things. He has to be doing big things, right? There's a reason he goes to this renegade organization, Avalanche, creates it, right? Because he has to do something big enough to tell himself that he really is taking part in this fight. Because the important thing is he has to be fighting for a better world, right? So I think it really does connect to how identity works and how he can function as a person now. Anyways, I think Barret's a good character. I've probably read more into it than there is here and in weird offshoot ways. But I think Dyne draws out a few interesting things, some of which the game returns to, the sort of Dyne focused parts it does not. Dyne himself, I think, not a particularly good character. But that doesn't mean these weren't both important, but also good and compelling scenes for Barret, who I think is a very good character and often kind of described as Mr. T, all he's doing is getting angry and shouting about things. And he isn't. And he isn't from the start. Like, he notices immediately, he's like, that's weird from you, Cloud. That was kind of perceptive out of you. He's got the analogy of the. He's got a bunch of lines describing Midgar. I'm now forgetting who is the train line. There ain't no getting off of this, whatever the line. My brain's gone. But he's got a bunch of perceptive lines, and he notices when other people do. He's not just this yelling figure, but he also needs to be fighting. That's really important. So yeah, I think Barret is a very good character and one of the strong points of FF7. And there are some like racist archetype things going on here that I am obviously not happy about. But there's a lot of real strength too. Let's continue with the game. Congratulations, now you're home free. Oh yeah, the owner told me to give this letter to you when you won. But to briefly return, um, I think the Dyne part is not a success for the game, but I think Barret is enough of a success for the game that I don't mind it, if that makes sense. Boy, if you're reading this letter, then you must have won, and won a victory that I'm sure you earned. I heard about Dyne from Esther. Now that you are victorious, I promise that you and all your friends will get a full pardon, and you will all be set free. Also, by way of apology, I prepared a little gift for you to use on your journey. Sorry I couldn't be there to tell you this in person, but I'm a very busy man. Sincerely, Dio. A gift? Cloud, isn't this great? The assistant manager just stopped by and dropped off a buggy for you. Our first transportation method, besides, I guess, the ship over sea, but we couldn't control that. Now you can go over deserts and rivers, no problem. Okay, okay, Cloud, I'll be waiting outside. So some impassable terrain is now passable. The letter continues. P.S. I just recently met Sephiroth. You must have a lot of fans with boys your age. Why don't you get his autograph? Seems he's headed toward the south of the river, towards Gongaga. Kinda interestingly, Gongaga is an optional location for the game. You don't actually have to go there, but obviously we will. Sephiroth. I guess this is goodbye. Yeah, well, if you ever get your own race chocobo, come back again. I'll take care of your registration and everything. I'll see you again. And we get the buggy, which provides some transportation. I think we will move back to having Piggyman as our third party member. I'll have to remember to move the materia. I think we'll do that, and then we'll save and call it a day, now that we have completed the Coral Prison District. How to drive the buggy, press OK to get on, cancel to get off, and we can just move around. We can also use it, we can take the buggy back to the prior mainland, and we may do so at some point. I'm not. There's some stuff you can do if you do so, and I don't feel particularly eager to do that stuff, but I'll think about it before the next episode, and maybe we will. Let's drop Ifrit, because we want to see each summon once. So we're going to drop both of these and put on Ramu, and we're going to take all your materia off, because you're no longer an active party member. Should be good. You have Chocomog, right. We have that connected to Elemental. Right, so she has wind on her attack. Nice. Just remembering things. Alright, we'll save and stop there. You can see my beautiful color scheme. Everyone agrees. This is just a gorgeous color scheme. As I've said repeatedly, I love that you can like so easily differentiate your saves, and without having to name the main character something different. Like, if you want to remember something as a specific save, in other games you often have to like name Titus like no sphere grid initial equipment challenge or whatever to remember what it looks like. And I'm not even sure that shows up in all games what you've named your main character. But it's really nice to have visual cues that tell you what your saves are. Man, we are going slowly through this game. Talking really does slow me down. Well, see you next time.